Oh yeah, but hey, I'm letting my oils come through. Oils come through. So, um, people might be surprised about my topic. Um, my topic pretty much is, well, value wife is an investment, and a value friend is a value meal. And the reason I say this is, you know, the way the world is trying to turn things around is hating on our women. You know, I mean, instead of men really they're wanting the wife to be beautiful and natural looking, but those things cost money. They cost money. Now, if you're okay with a woman, perhaps like myself, I have no hair, fake hair in my head. Edges ain't on point. You know, I don't have much makeup on. I just got like eyeliner on. I don't have no foundation. You know what I mean? Some men say, yes, I like that. But some men say that, but they still look at the ones that have the makeup. You know, they're always in their channels and things like that. So men have a variety of tastes, whether they believe it or not. You know, every woman has a different type of what she is, and I'm not necessarily talking about the looks. I'm talking about what she's worth. I'm talking about what she's worth. Now, you had Derrick Jackson, and he was a married man, and he cheated numerous times on a girl that looked like this. He cheated on her. Now he, has to come in front of the camera and tell the world that's supposed to be a life coach or a relationship coach that he cheated. You know, why are we doing this? That's his personal lifestyle. And I'm saying that the woman that he was having an affair with, one of them, I don't know all the other ones, had nothing but hair all the way down, fake hair, whether it was a lace front, weave, all the way down to her knees almost. She had makeup everywhere, decent, nice looking woman. I'm not clowning her. She was very beautiful. And so this is just about breaking down what men really want. What are you really wanting? What do you really want? You want your cake and to eat it too. That's what you really want. I like this one. I could vibe with her. She cool. She one of the homies. And then this one, I just want to get it in with mom. I just want to have sex. And so you have to be able to bring these things to the table when you're trying to date someone. If you're trying to have a relationship with someone, you have to be 100% about who you are and what you want. You're the man. If you're the man, you can't be fronting, I don't want to hurt her. You're not hurting her. You're hurting her by not saying what you're really wanting. Well, that's not hurting, but, you just, if she doesn't know who her value is, then you ain't hurting her. But if you're not really telling her the truth, welcome to everybody in the chat. You're not telling her the truth. You're just keeping, if she's going to just sit there and wait for, you to figure out what you're going to do, if she's going to be chosen in some kind of contest, when it's thousands of men that she could have a choice from, why would a woman do that? Life is short. I was looking at this woman that was her children was graduating, and her son, I think her daughter graduating, and unfortunately she didn't get to go to her graduation. She had passed away right before she got in there. She passed out. So I'm just saying life is short. That you may say that has nothing to do with anything, but it does. You're not to wait on anyone, especially that's not giving you a real lifestyle of knowing who are you with me, of communication and saying, are you with me? Are you really liking me? Or are you just saying something? Or are you just doing street theater. You know what I mean? You got to figure it out. And when you're not clear, it's automatic no. Let me say that again. When they have not said, hey, whatever your name is, let me see. Abba, I want to be with you. Let's get married. They ain't did that. They ain't trying to be with you. They playing mind games. They're playing mind games. And so it's just about being clear and being realistic, not waiting on some man to tell you this or somebody to tell you this. You should be able to figure it out if somebody really wants to be with you. Now, everybody throwing around that if I give her $30 for lunch, would that be enough? Well, my thing is, if you're giving someone $30 for lunch, then you basically need to tell her where she's gonna be eating at, because $30 for lunch ain't enough. It's not enough. It's just about it's like saying you can eat certain places. Yeah. Versus saying, you know what, you might have another need. Here, take about 50. You know what? I'm a better man than that. Let's do 100. You can get lunch and do something else with it. It's my blessing. You're not hurting on your money. You're putting an investment that says she might need something else. You're not hurting by giving her more money. When I'm tithing, if I put more tithing into the Lord or helping that poor person, I'm not hurting. I'm not always hurting. I'm not saying you're doing this every day. If you decide to treat someone, you have to remember, if you're going somewhere out to eat, I don't know people's professions and things like that. If you're going out to eat, you have to tip that person. You might have to tip that person. You know what I mean? Certain places you barely getting by with 30. You barely can do something with 30. Now, if you're doing a value meal, you want me to just go to McDonald's, then that's what you got to tell me. Just go to McDonald's, get you something off of that menu, and then you good. But that's not a vet. That's a friend. That's a valued friend that's saying, hey, because, the way that men do things, why are you giving me $30 for it? Why are you giving me $30? You giving me $30 because the way men see it, they ain't gonna tell you how it really is. Because my thing is, if you're not a righteous woman, he's coming to you with $30. That's how he's gonna be seeing you. If you get down with the get down, you pretty much did something with $30. You know what I'm saying? If he's not your wife, even if he's courting you, you're trying to see. When this person, if we're talking about courting, we're trying to see, can you take me out to nice, decent places? Or do I have to sit where, the door back there so we can run? You know what I mean? I'm saying, how you do with treating me? You ain't never got to take all my friends out. Now I've said some things like that before, where men have done some things, and I would never tell some man, hey, pay for my friends and stuff. Hey, as long as he paying for me. But I'm just saying, there are coincidences that I have had men that talk to me and they just was like, I'm trying to show you I have money. If I'm willing to pay for you, I could pay your friends. So I got money. So that's how it used to be back in the day. So that's how that was. So when you do those things, that you have this, it's a value that you have for yourself. And I think that's where the Most High had me, now I got people who would go out their way to clown me. They'll come all the way from Rockford to Georgia to clown me because the insecurity of whatever they thought they was, there's plenty of times I look worse than this and I still had men try to talk to me, because I don't have low self-esteem and I'm not trying to take from a man. If a man put some money to me, 9 times out of 10, if he gave me 50, 100, I'd say, you know what? Now I feel the investment. Let me hand you this back. I only needed this. You know what I mean? But it's just about how you think. How you think. If you're thinking you about to lay up with me because you just spent $200 or something, then, I'll reverse that. I'm gonna hand it back to you because you know what I mean. But if you're just saying, you know what, I'm just trying to make sure you're all right. You know what I mean? Now you're investing. You're investing in someone who could be a wife. Now, if you're saying no, I'm just, I just got my income tax. I just looking out. You're explaining stuff. So now you good. But this is things that men and women get confused. Because a man say, $30. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. That's how they say. I worked in a shop without men. Their story is, I got it for $30. That's their story. But we talk about in righteousness. Now, if you a worldly person and he spent 200 on you, then you said, okay, you spent 200 on some coochie. You know what I mean? So that's where I say you have to have value in yourself. This is not for worldly. My channel is about courting, and having a righteousness and being married. So, but I'm just saying to those who do it and they be out here bragging, my man gave me $30. You know what I mean? It's an individual relationship. I'm not saying this is for everyone. That's something you probably give your daughter, $30, go about your business. You know what I mean? And it's just people out here that I turn things down because I don't know what they own. I have my own thing, and that's how I do. I don't have exactly what I need to have, but people look at that as I could take advantage of you. You're homeless, so I could take advantage of you. So you saying you're homeless, you should want $30. Well, a lot of times I skip lunch to do something about other things that I have to deal with. So if you talk about someone like me, that ain't gonna work for me because I'm saying sometimes I don't even have lunch. I don't eat. I might be going down before the Lord. So, it's to each an individual person, but I'm not knocking someone who do it. But I'm just saying, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? So, I'm just trying to say, you have to remember, things of the day are very expensive. They're very expensive, going to McDonald's, you know what I mean? If you're going to McDonald's, then yeah, $30 fall on that. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to you might be at a place like I do. I come to the mall quite often. Chick-fil-A is always here. Not McDonald's. It's like, again, you know what I mean? So sometimes you might want to do something a little different. And then you say, dang, well, I guess I just go on with the flow. But, never be mean when somebody do something for you. Never. Never be mean. Be thankful for it. But women just don't say, okay, he just gave me like that, You know what I mean? So it's all about the intent. I mean, I was just thinking about you, but you know what I mean? And so I'm not hating on anyone. And I've heard this always all around Twitter. On Twitter, they been saying stuff like that. But, it's just about, are you wanting a wife? Or, if you work that out with your wife and she good. But if you're trying, women a lot of times want to know, where you at financially? Are you going to take me to a nice, decent place? I cook. I cook. But, you got to really look out for your wife. You know what I mean? Give her a nice place to stay. Nice place to be. Peace. We could look at Queen Esther. King Xerxes gave her 6 months to get her stuff together. He's a king. You know what I mean? So to most people, they don't like that. It's just, when you're dealing with a narcissist, they can't stand to not be the center of attention. They'll do anything to get attention off of you, send people to you. And you know what I'm saying? Now that I'm down to my lowest form of not having my hair done, I don't watch people. I don't care what people got going on. I have my own life, and they can't stand it. They can't stand that. They'll never be a part of my life. And I don't put everything I do on blast of what I'm doing, but they know. They know, and they'll never be a part of it, because they keep trying to put me down. They keep trying to put me down. And the thing is, but you still keep trying to watch everything that's been presented. You may look the part. You have your hair done, your nails done, but that's not about what I'm doing here. I'm trying to get women to love themselves again, because the men, they want to kick you down. They think this is something they did. No, this is something I did. I did this because I'm tired of paying $200 to get my hair braided. I'm tired. Yes, that was a treat that I had. A treat. Since I came from jail, I spent $200 to just get that done because I needed a deep condition, all that. But I mean, I'm not going to do that every month. You see what I mean? I'm not doing that every month. And that's just it. When you have things going on for your life, they want to make fun of you, but they still trying to have this attachment. They're still trying to be where you are. Don't let a narcissist get around their friends. You see a narcissist around their friends, that's all they're going to do. They're trying to make fun of you because the friends are saying, I don't want to be clowned. But I'm saying, well, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I don't have no problem, I'm getting my, my shape. I'm walking more. I'm trying to put more water. It's hard because it's like really hot outside, but I put try to drink water, ice, to keep myself. But, we need to start loving our wives. If you're wondering why they want to just walk out, it's not all about money. It's about the communication. Are you talking to me? Or are you just telling me something? Or you just treat me like one of the kids? One of the kids, okay, here's $30, go somewhere. No. If it's a wife, you have to have a value. Give her more just to see how she do it. She might just get enough and let me get him something too, since he thought about us. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, we can make this a meal. We can take this home. So men don't think it's like, oh God. But I'm just saying, you never know. You never know. You looking like a better man by giving more. If you're trying to make her your wife, if you just friends with her, then they gotta know where they at. They too busy trying to stream my live, but they have no clue where they at with their baby daddies and men's. They trying to get answers for me. So, you know what I mean? So that's my thing on it. Me, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not consuming myself with men right now. My thing is to get myself together. My kids, especially my son. My son is going through an injustice, and so I'm not thinking about any of those things. But I find it interesting, to go through these things, and it helps the ones who have to keep a day-to-day rapport of my life, and why I can get men, real men, that well known to do things for me, and they don't. You know what I mean? And I'm not asking for that. I know I could, but I'm not in that position right now because I don't play with people. I don't play with people's minds and their hearts. What it is what it is, and I talk to them and tell them. But so that's me. So you'll never see me trying to juice some man. You know what I mean? That's where I have my homelessness. Yep, I'll take the other route. You know what I mean? But I have my own life, and to others, they still trying to play it by thumb. They still have places to go. They still have their friends, but they still make me the center of attention. So that's where I come to YouTube and say, here I am. You know what I mean? Things are working out for me. The Most High is doing some miraculous things for me. I'm standing in prayer. So to each his own. Some people are scared to be themselves. Lord knows that I'm not. I'm never afraid to be myself, and I'm never afraid to tell men that, the truth. Are you wanting a valued friend or a value meal? Because if you want a value meal, the $30 ain't gonna be enough. It's not gonna be enough. Then you need to put it on the description. You need to get, that's all you need to do is get you a gift card, say McDonald's on it. Or say it's only, or go to Olive Garden or one of them and say it's only got like $30 on there. I was just looking out. Because you didn't really provide for what they were wanting. I eat all the time at these places. So, they might was looking for something a little better. So, I'm just saying, even 40 would have been a little bit better. But, You know, I'm just saying, I be here. I be at these places all the time, and trust me, I'm spending close to $30. If I really was to get me a one meal, I'm spending like 20 something. I'm telling you, it's not cheap. So I'm just trying to be real with you. You know what I mean? You know, but if you could work that out with them, and if it's your wife and they good, then that's all that matter. But when you're dealing with women like myself, you know, I can pay $30, for my food. I have. So that's where I'm trying to go with this. And you know, some people are gonna disagree. But like I said, that's where you don't get the call back. That's where she's gonna be trying to date somebody else. Because when you can't, why you cashing after 30, somebody cash out 100. I'm going with that. I'm gonna go out with that person. I'm just saying this is how really women should be. And this is not a secret. We're telling the men we're dating. If you out there, then I'm out here. I don't know. I'm middle age. I don't know what might happen. I don't know. Because it's not about hurting. And women do this, and they may not like it, but this will keep you from being on the 11 o'clock news. You putting it out there. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. We don't play with people and their emotions. But teach his own. But I'm just gonna get on out here. All right. Which one are you? Are you the value wife or the value meal?